For this life I cannot change. Hidden hills, deep off in the main. M&M's, sweet like
This is
candy
Nova
cane.
Drink Cloud Digital, and I'm bringing you a tutorial on Travis Scott's song called Butterfly Effect. I know a lot of people love this song and really just been bumping it, so I know it would be great to have this vocal effect tutorial going on. So we're gonna go ahead and jump straight into it. I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the instrumental and turn off all the other effects that we have. I'll turn off the ad-libs too. So the first thing we have is the auto-tune VST, and I kept it in C sharp, and the scale was a minor. Travis Scott used a lot of auto-tune in this, but he always usually does. So I turned the retune speed all the way to 0. Make sure to freeze the screen to copy all these settings, and I'll go ahead and play the quality.
For this life I cannot change. Hidden hills, deep off in the main. M&M's, sweet like candy cane. Drop the top, pop it, let it bang.
So now that we have that, the next thing that we have is the de-esser mono. And what I did, I put the split, the audio on split. I put the frequency 5540, sidechain, selected high pass, and the monitor audio. I dropped the threshold down to 32.5, and this is what it's gonna sound like.
For this life I cannot change. Hidden hills, deep off in the main.
So after that, we have Fruity Parametric EQ2, and I just made some adjustments, cut out a lot of the low frequency, and brought up a lot of the high just to make sure the vocal sounded crisp. And this is what it's gonna sound like.
For this life I cannot change. Hidden hills, deep off in the main.
After that, I put in another parametric EQ2, and what I did, I went back and adjusted the middle frequency. I raised it up. I did a boost in this area and cut some of the upper frequency, the upper high frequency, because that sounded a little bit too radio-ish, I guess you could say. And I cut off some more of the high frequency, and this is how it sounded like.
For this life I cannot change. Hidden hills, deep off in the main.
After that, have another de-esser stereo, this through waves. Put the audio split, frequency 5406, and I put the side chain, put on high pass, and the monitor is audio. Make sure to drop the threshold down to -32.
For this life I cannot change. Hidden hills, deep off in the main.
After that, I added a Fruity Delay 2, and basically what I did, I put the volume of the input all the way to right here, feedback normal. Make sure the volume is in the middle, and just put the cut. I just adjusted the cut back some, and you can pretty much leave these other settings. No, actually with the time is gonna have to be adjusted. I usually put it in the middle, but make sure that if you're making your own song using this vocal chain, then make sure that you have the tempo set correctly, and then after that you should be fine. This is what it'll sound like.
For this life I cannot change. Hidden hills, deep off in the main.
After that, added a Fruity Reverb 2. You can pause the screen and copy down these settings. Just keep in mind that reverb, you don't have to be exact and too precise. But this is the general settings that you can just freeze the screen and copy. And this is what it'll sound like.
For this life I cannot change. Hidden hills, deep off in the main.
After that is a Fruity limiter. And what I did is I brought the gain up and I put a ceiling on it. You can reset the attack. Make sure it's right here. I put the release. I always put it down. Well, not always, but sometimes it depends. But I put it down all the way to 0. I put the head on 9.77 milliseconds. And this is what it'll sound like.
For this life I cannot change. Hidden hills, deep off in the main.
So although it's pretty loud, although the vocal sounds pretty loud, what I did was I dropped it down to -9 decibels because I noticed that in the original song, Travis didn't make the vocal, like the mastering wasn't way too loud, like his vocals were really behind the beat. So I made sure and put it at -9 decibels. And what I did is make sure to link, I always link all my vocals. So I have three to four vocal takes in here. I link all of them to one mixer track, and then I put a fruity limiter, and just make sure that you have this to reset and put the release all the way down to 0. And I just make sure that like I said before, I noticed that he had the vocals at -9, so I brought the release down to -9.
For this life I cannot change. Hidden hills, deep off in the main.
So now that you know that, you can really just make sure that your vocals are really just leveled all together now, especially if you have a whole bunch of vocal harmonies and ad-libs and highlights and whatnot. So honestly, I know it'll take way longer to explain all these vocal effects and everything. I'll have the FLP in the description. You can get off my site, bluenovabeats.com. This is one of the background ad-libs that I did.
For this life I cannot change.
So basically with that, I noticed Travis Scott, he put he usually does the low oohs and whatever just to give it that certain vibe within his music. So I did that with this, and I really just used a lot of reverb. This is a reverb setting that I had. And make sure, Travis Scott, I know he makes it feel as if you're in a whole nother room. So I put the room to basically thinner space. You can see it in here. And lastly, I had another ad-lib that I did. And basically, I noticed what he did in some of the ad-libs. It had a lot of delay. So such as this one right here. So it's like the delay for this kept on going. And I'll show you how to do that. So with Fruity Delay 2, the volume right here is going to be, how loud the delay comes back in. And the volume right here is the feedback. So the feedback for the volume will continue to go. For the cut, there wasn't any cut on it. It was really like natural feedback. And the time, I really just cut it. I cut it to right here because I know the delay came back real fast. So it's like, this will be the example. So the time is going to make it come back faster and faster. Everything else is going to be the feedback, how fast it, not how fast it comes in, how many times you're going to hear it. So you really have to adjust it depending on your own personal mix.
Sweet like candy cane. Drop the top, pop it, let it bang.
So now that we have Maximus, what I did, I added Maximus on the instrumental. I brought the compression all the way up on the master for the high. Just left click and drag it. I put it right here. And I put the second band on -6 decibels. And this is what it's going to sound like.
M&M's, sweet like candy cane. Drop the top, pop it, let it bang. For this life I cannot change.
So for the low frequency in this, I noticed there was some stereo in the low. And it's always usually best to keep the bass in mono so that it doesn't like warp into the stereo signal of the mix. So what I did, I put the low, I put it all the way in mono. So that's the reason why you see this knob all the way down to 100, just to make sure to take out some of the unnecessary stereo imaging within the low frequency. So that's the reason the white will be the actual sound and the purple is what was there before, but it's actually taken away. And lastly, what I did, I got the pregame and I dropped it down to about two decibels. I just made sure the bass was at -6.
M&M's, sweet like candy cane.
So now that we have that, the last thing is having Maximus on here. And like I usually say in all my tutorials, I always bring the high. I bring the compression down to -6. And I always bring the mid up. Same with the low. I bring it all the way up. And with the master, there's nothing on it. So this is what it's gonna sound like.
M&M's, sweet like candy cane. Drop the top, pop it, let it bang.
Now the last thing is having isotope. And what I went ahead and did is I brought the post equalizer and I put the cut. I went ahead and went to the 8th band, went to brick wall, and go to low pass and select brick wall. And then you're gonna have 15,275 hertz. You're gonna bring the cut in right there, and then make sure on your graph the EQs before the loud maximizer. And the threshold, I dropped it down to -6 decibels just to make sure it was loud. In the original song, I don't think it was too loud, so I went ahead and brought the threshold down to -6 decibels. Now the mix will be way louder and really just full and clear. And this is how it sounds like.
M&M's, sweet like candy cane. Drop the top, pop it, let it bang. For this life I cannot change.
So yeah, that pretty much wraps up this tutorial. If you have any questions, go ahead and drop in the comment section. Make sure to subscribe, like, share, and do whatever you can to make sure this video really just get the views up. And I really thank everyone for watching. So if you want any mixing and mastering or beats done, just go to bluenovabeats.com. You can also contact me on my website too. So honestly, thank you all for watching, and tune in for another tutorial. I'll be more consistent with all of this, I promise.
For this life I cannot change.